Buckle up and prepare for takeoff into the wild world of Airplane, the 1980 comedy classic that shocked audiences with its irreverent humor and revolutionized the parody genre. You won't believe the turbulence the cast and crew experienced during filming, from near-fatal stunts to last-minute casting changes that almost derailed the entire production. Stay tuned until the end for a shocking bonus fact that has baffled film historians for over 4 decades. Number 1. A turbulent takeoff airplane. Almost never got off the ground. Writers and directors David Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and Jerry Zucker, known as Zaz, faced immense pushback from studio executives who thought their zany script, packed with puns, visual gags, and risque jokes, was simply too much. In a last-ditch effort, Zaz decided to film the script on the cheap in only 34 days. With a shoestring budget of just $3.5 million, a pittance compared to the $350 million the parody film epic comedy Airplane would gross, the inventive filmmakers employed wildly creative cost-cutting techniques, from using painted backdrops to buying bulk commercial airline seats from a salvage yard. The result? Cinema's first and most successful parody film that pushed the boundaries of the comedy genre and paved the way for generations of gut-busting satirical films to come. Number 2. Fasten your seatbelts and parachutes. The infamous plane crash sequence in Airplane is infamous for a reason. The crew very nearly experienced a real-life disaster while filming. The nail-biting scene where Ted Stryker, Robert Hayes, takes over the controls features actual aerial footage, captured by stunt pilots purposefully diving the aircraft toward the runway at horrifying angles. However, one take went terribly wrong when the plane failed to pull up at the last second, nearly plummeting into a fatal nosedive before the quick-thinking pilots engaged emergency parachutes to abort the landing. The crew escaped unscathed, but the heart-stopping moment was captured on film from the cockpit, preserved as a testament to the fearless lengths the team went for the perfect shot. Number 3. From serious drama to satirical gold. Here's one that might make you spit out your coffee. Airplane was originally written as a dark thriller. Yes, the same movie famous for jive-talking nuns and blow-up dolls was initially penned as a gritty screenplay called 0 Hour. Based on a 1950s teleplay about a shell-shocked fighter pilot forced to land a commercial plane. The Zaz team loved the melodramatic plot so much that they decided to buy the remake rights and adapt it shot for shot as a comedy. By keeping the tension-filled plot entirely intact but layering in absurdist jokes and wordplay, they struck comedy gold and created a whole new genre, the parody film. It's a creative approach that has inspired a sky-high pile of spoof films in the decades since, from The Naked Gun to Scary Movie. Quick break. If you're enjoying these exclusive Airplane facts, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button for more little-known movie trivia. Now back to our flight. Number 4. A controversial classic. Today, it's hard to imagine Airplane without the iconic, deadpan comedic delivery of actor Leslie Nielsen as Dr. Rumack. But studio execs originally balked at the idea of casting the dramatic actor, best known for somber roles in shows like The Bold Ones and SWAT. However, Zaz fought tooth and nail for Nielsen, certain his serious persona would strike the perfect comedic contrast to the film's outlandish gags. In fact, Nielsen's performance, delivering ridiculous lines like, "I am serious and don't call me Shirley," with a gravely straight face, became the standout element that defined the movie's satirical style. The gamble paid off, not only sparking Nielsen's mid-career resurgence as a comedic legend, but setting the mold for the deadpan comedian archetype that's been replicated by stoic-faced comics from Steve Carell to Bill Murray. Number 5. The trouble with jive. One of the most famous scenes in Airplane. The jive-talking sequence between 2 black passengers and a stuffy white woman almost didn't happen because the Zaz team feared it was too controversial. The memorable scene, which pokes fun at language barriers and racial stereotypes, was originally written for 2 lower-class British passengers speaking in Cockney slang. But after casting gifted comedians Norman Alexander Gibbs and Al White, filmmakers decided to rewrite the scene to showcase their talents. Despite the Zaz team's hesitations about the edgy racial humor, they ultimately included the scene to shine a spotlight on the natural comedic abilities of black actors, who were often marginalized in mainstream white films in the 1980s. The risk was worth it. The hilarious scene not only left audiences in stitches, but opened the door for greater representation of black comedians in major studio films. Number 6. Cameos on a plain airplane is stuffed to the overhead bins with blink and you'll miss it cameos from some of the biggest stars of the 1970s and 80s. Basketball legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar pops up as Roger Murdoch, the co-pilot with a secret identity. Maureen McGovern, the iconic singer of Oscar-winning songs from The Poseidon Adventure and The Towering Inferno, appears as a guitar-playing nun. And the Zaz team themselves make meta cameos as ground crewmen who accidentally caused the food poisoning by mishandling the infamous fish dinner. But perhaps the most shocking cameo is Ethel Merman, the Broadway legend in her final film role, delivering an unforgettable rendition of Everything's Coming Up Roses in a brief but pivotal appearance as a shell-shocked military soldier. These quick cameos not only delighted audiences by placing familiar faces in unexpected roles, but inspired a tradition of surprising celebrity drop-ins that's become a hallmark of the spoof comedy genre. Number 7. Exclamations in the Sky, the title of Airplane, was a last-minute decision that sparked a minor crisis among the studio marketing department. Filmmakers originally planned to call the film Flying High, but soon discovered a low-budget drama about flight attendants used the same name. Scrambling for a replacement, the Zaz team eventually landed on the exclamation point adorned airplane, a deceptively simple title that slyly winked at the overblown punctuational styles of the 1970s disaster movie genre. However, the title change sent the publicity department into a full-blown panic, forcing them to pull a $500,000 promotional campaign mere weeks before the premiere. In an apt metaphor for the film's turbulent journey to the big screen, the airplane crew found themselves racing against the clock to pull together posters, ad copy, and press junkets in time for the release date. But the team took it in stride. After all, their quick wits and razor-sharp creativity under pressure had already produced a comedic tour de force. What was one more tiny crisis? Number 8. A method to the madness. To fully immerse himself in the absurdist, fast-paced world of Airplane, actor Robert Hays used an unconventional method acting approach inspired by the silent film era. Hays would arrive on set hours before his castmates and practice exaggerated physical gags and slapstick routines in his trailer, honing his body's comedic timing to match the film's signature snappy style. He even went so far as to study Charlie Chaplin films for inspiration, analyzing the master comedian's knack for using subtle gestures and expressions to convey laughs. Hays then sprinkled these small physical flourishes throughout his straight-man performance as Ted Stryker, resulting in a layered, almost imperceptibly hilarious turn that grounded the film's wackier shenanigans. His behind-the-scenes commitment to old-school comedy mechanics not only elevated his own role, but set a tone of delightful accuracy satire that electrified the entire cast. Number 9. Secrets of the Autopilot. The surprise star of Airplane isn't a Hollywood A-lister or comedy icon. It's Otto, the inflatable automatic pilot doll. The oddball character, who features in several of the film's most famous sight gags and even takes over for Captain O'Vure in the cockpit, was a last-minute invention that originated from a throwaway joke. While searching for a quick visual gag to fill a scene, the prop department grabbed Otto, an inflatable dummy torso the crew used to test lighting rigs, and tossed him into the shot. Zaz loved the weird, silly visual of a literal autopilot so much that they kept adding Otto into more and more scenes, eventually making him the film's breakout star. Soon, the crew began referring to the flimsy plastic dummy by the affectionate nickname Outtakes Otto, since his wobbly, uncooperative movements would often ruin shots and force redos. but Otto's unintended scene-stealing skills proved the perfect finishing touch to the film's subversive silly meets sophisticated comedy alchemy. Number 10. The Zucker Effect Airplane. Its runaway success didn't just make household names of its stars. It turned filmmakers David Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and Jerry Zucker into the hottest comedy powerhouses in Hollywood. Over the next decade, the Zazie writing and directing team would go on to mastermind a string of smash hit films like Top Secret and the Naked Gun series, firmly establishing their signature satirical style as a box office goldmine. But their behind-the-scenes influence reached even further than their own projects. Studio executives eager to recreate Airplane's era success began greenlighting over-the-top spoof films left and right, leading to dozens of, mostly subpar, copycat films throughout the 80s and 90s, from Hot Shots to Spy Hard. Even today, the DNA of Zaz's dry wit approach can be detected in the barrage of wink-wink pop culture parodies that continue to fill screens and streams. It's a comedy lineage that all leads back to Airplane, the little parody picture that cleared the runway for an entirely new era of smart meets silly laughs. Bonus fact: the pilot-passenger mystery. Here's one long-debated detail that will make you go, After 40-plus years, Airplane. Fans still can't seem to agree on the identity of the passenger who delivers Ted's backstory via a series of flashbacks midway through the film. In fact, there's no official script record, cast list, or credit citation of who plays the middle-aged man who listens as Ted recounts his troubled history and fear of flying. For decades, astute viewers have speculated the mystery performer is Howard Jarvis, the famed political activist who led California's 1970s tax revolt. Yet Jarvis, who wasn't an actor, never appeared in any other films, and no official production record lists him in the role. Was it a secret cameo by the influential figure? An uncredited day player who happens to bear a resemblance? The world may never know. While this background character only utters a few underwhelmed "mm-hms" in response to Ted's tragic tale, his bored reactions underscore the film's brilliant balance of broad humor and subtle visual comedy, proving even an unnamed extra can generate big laughs in Zazzy's world. And that concludes our look back at 10 fascinating facts about the aviation industry in 1980. From the rise of wide-body jets to the Airline Deregulation Act, we covered quite a bit of ground in this retrospective. I hope you found these insights into the world of air travel 40 years ago interesting and informative. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.